Today we're talking about The Big Lebowski, my favorite movie of all time. Usually, when I review a film, I start with a brief synopsis to set the stage. But writing a proper synopsis for The Big Lebowski feels like trying to fit the sun into an Earth sized box. So much happens in this movie, and yet somehow nothing happens at all. Still, to make my life easier, here's the official IMDb synopsis. Jeff the Dude Lebowski is mistaken for Jeffrey Lebowski, who is the Big Lebowski, which explains why he is roughed up and his precious reg is peed on. In search of recompensation, the dude tracks his namesake, who offers him a job. His wife has been kidnapped and he needs a reliable bagman, aided and hindered by his pals Walter Shopchak, a Vietnam vet, and Donnie, master of stupidity. Now, after hearing that synopsis, you would assume you have at least a rough idea of what the movie is about. I can almost guarantee you don't, and that's the point. The Big Lebowski isn't really a movie in the conventional sense, it's an experience. It's a chain of events that unfold one after another. Sometimes they are connected, sometimes they feel completely unrelated. Sometimes they seem important and turn out to mean absolutely nothing. Structurally, this movie is one of the most unorthodox things I've ever seen. It doesn't follow the traditional three act structure, it doesn't follow any recognizable structure at all, really. And yet, somehow it works. God knows how. The Goen brothers created something that feels entirely original, almost accidental, but also incredibly deliberate at the same time. The humor is another thing that sets this film apart. It's not built around clever punchlines or traditional comedic setups. The comedy comes from weird people doing weird things and treating those weird things as completely normal. Ironically, Jeff the Dude Lebowski is the only normal person in the entire movie. Everyone around him is absolutely unhinged. You got the nihilist who believe in nothing but still manage to be aggressive about it. You got Walter Sobchak, a Vietnam veteran who is permanently stuck in Vietnam, mentally and emotionally. And then there's Donnie, who's so out of his element half the time, he doesn't even realize he's part of the conversation. And yet, all of this chaos keeps pulling the dude into situations he desperately wants no part of. That's where so much of the humor comes from. He's not trying to be a hero, he's not trying to solve a mystery, he just wants his rug back. Because, as we all know, it really tied the room together. This movie is filled with laugh out loud moments that feel almost improvised in their absurdity. The infamous ferret being mistaken for a marmot, the endlessly quotable dialogue, yeah, well, that's just your opinion, man. The way events spiral out of control without ever really escalating in a traditional cinematic way. And that's why I genuinely love the Big Lebowski functions almost like a spoof. It's not directly parodying any specific genre, but it's quietly mocking the very structure of structured storytelling. It refuses to follow the rules that action films, crime dramas, or even comedies usually rely on. The narrative is messy, the ending is abrupt, the story folds as a collection of incidents rather than a clear linear plot. And yet it works. It works because the characters are unforgettable. It works because the humor is fearless and offbeat. And it works because the movie is completely comfortable with not explaining itself or justifying its choices. The Big Lebowski is a classic and it earns that status. Not because it tries to impress you, but it doesn't care whether it does or not. It just exists, confidently in its own bizarre little universe. And honestly, that's what makes it timeless.